Ah, welcome back to the Boy Time channel. Today, older Lizzy McAlpine. No wheel. It's a new release. It just came out. Uh, yeah. This is the second Lizzy McAlpine we're doing on the channel.
That's
I know
correct.
nothing about this record, so this is a Jerry one.
Yeah. Um, Frankly, I don't know much about this either. I just heard the single Older quite a bit. It was funny. The single for this album and the single for that Adrian Lenker album came out around the same time. So I was bumping those two singles like all the time. And for a lead single, it's very sad. So I don't know if that's going to be the case for the rest of this record. But I haven't really looked at reviews or anything. But we've just done her first album, Give Me a Minute. So we're jumping from the first one that she did to now the third one, jumping over 5 seconds flat. We might do that eventually. I think there's a lot of good stuff on there. But if your complaint about Give Me a Minute was that it was too one note, 5 seconds flat is all over the place. Kind of like a SZA or a Sir, is that she was just like trying a bunch of different styles. So I'm interested to see what this one is going to be. If it's going to be more one consistent sound or if it's going to go all over the place again. So I guess we'll see. Right now, we'll probably do the first two with the elevator and come down soon.
It wasn't slow, it happened fast. And suddenly the only thing I saw was you. I didn't know the half of it. And suddenly I had everything to lose. He leans out the window of the car as it rolls away. He says, "Do you come here often?" I have to laugh 'cause that's so cliche. He knows me too well, so he parks just to walk me in. He says, "Do you wanna leave yet?" Only if I leave with him. Oh, you'll come down soon. Nothing this good ever lasts this long for me. Oh, you'll come down soon. You'll see. Oh, you'll come down soon. Nothing this good's ever really good for me. Oh, you'll come down soon.
All right, that was the elevator and come down soon.
Solid start. I like both of those. Yeah, Elevator was a good kind of intro into. I think it really sets up Come Down Soon really well.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I always like when records kind of like set you in the sound a little bit, give you a little taster, and then it like helps the second track open. I think that works really well here. Yeah, I think immediately production is a lot different than the first record. If I'm remembering correctly, that one's a lot more bedroom indie folk popish.
Yep.
It's very kind of closed off a little bit. I think this one she really opens it up. You get kind of this spacey cowboy indie folk sound that's been really trendy the past couple of years, and I think it really helps. I think the way the track builds actually is pretty well on Come Down Soon. I think that worked pretty well. Yeah, I don't know if there's anything too crazy. I think with Lizzy McAlpine for me, there's always like I'm hearing this, and this. I'm starting to realize that it's just her how she writes her music now. So I will bring up those influences as they come up, but I'm not going to be annoying about it. So I will not talk about it for these tracks. Um, but yeah, I got like a little bit of Fleetwood Mac in here too, which was kind of cool,
Yeah.
kind of retro-y. But yeah, that was a pretty good start.
Yeah, I would say so. Um, yeah, this so far seems to be more in the direction of Give Me a Minute, like a more focused sound. Um, but I mean, we haven't really heard the whole thing yet. But I did want to bring up, I forgot to do it in a little intro. I think this album may or may not be like a reaction to like poor touring experiences that she had. I know that the tour for this album is very short. I think there's only like 10 or so places she's going and very selective on the places that she is going. So I don't know what all was going on. I just know that she was having some issues on tour for 5 seconds flat. So I don't know what kind of influence that has here, but so far, I'm really liking it. You know, Elevator I think was really nice. We're getting some backing vocals, which we haven't really got from her before on songs that didn't have features on them. And then Come Down Soon, like you said, has a really great Fleetwood Mac groove, and I was here for it. Great song. So we'll move on. Track 3 is Like It Tends to Do.
I don't know where we stand anymore. We have cordial conversations. Don't know why I feel I'm faking something. I don't know what to do with my hands anymore. Feels exactly like it was, but at the same time it feels so different. You don't visit anymore, that you showed up before the move. I can't tell if it felt like we had nothing to lose, or if everything had changed like it tends to do.
All right, that was Like It Tends to Do.
I think that was really good. I think that's my favorite so far. Been really enjoying really stripped back stuff lately, so this is definitely what I've been wanting.
Yeah.
Um, I love the guitar on this track. It definitely took a different route than you would typically expect a guitar-led track like this. I love the dissonance and the chords that she was using there. That felt really cool. I think it played off of her vocals really well. Um, yeah, I think I'm gonna have an issue with this whole record because like I like these songs and there's nothing wrong with them. But the only thing I can think in my head is like, this is what a TikTok algorithm would make if
Mm.
you take all of the greats in this genre, you blend them into one person, and then this is what it makes. So it's a very weird feeling for me because I feel like these tracks are very personal and cut through, but there's this part of me where it's like, all I'm doing when I'm listening is like, that's there, that's there, that's there. I'm hearing Clairo, I'm hearing Casey, I'm hearing Phoebe, I'm hearing Billie Eilish all within one song.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but she's not doing anything better than any of those artists on their own, which is my issue. But at the same time, the song sounds really good and I enjoy it. So there's this weird disconnect with me here. Um, but I do think the song went over really well. I think it definitely got very punishery at the end. But yeah, I think that worked really well. I love that guitar. I like the way we're going though.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think I'm like super hot on that one, but I did enjoy it. I just think that one's going to have to grow on me a little bit. But yeah, what you were saying, I don't think she's like the best in like this avenue, this lane. But I do think that, you know, she's pretty good. I like it.
Yeah, being solid enough and making music that still is good is like more than enough than what you have to do.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, it's just hearing those so blatant. It's like, I need to talk about something else, but I can't.
Oh, that's fair. That's fair. Well, let's see if she switches it up a little bit. We'll probably do the next two again with Movie Star and All Falls Down.
My favorite Kanye song.
I'm
Movie
special.
Star.
No.
He sees me. He chose me out of everyone. I feel like a movie star in the leading role, famous to someone. Can I come over? Will your friends be there? Even if they are, I don't care. Wish someone would stop me, but they never will. Over and over, over and over and over.
Clarinet?
What?
Yes, sir.
Hollowed out. Tell me how to be more like you today. More than a shell of me. Couldn't say who I am right now. Tell me how to keep the time from sticking around. 22 was a panic attack. I can't stop the time from moving, and I can never get it back. 'Cause it all falls down on you, and it all falls down on you, then it all falls down on you, and it all falls down on you at the same time. At the same time.
All right, that was Movie Star and All Falls Down.
Nice. I think I like both of those. I thought the lyrics on Movie Star were pretty great. I
Mm-hmm.
love the idea of like being a movie star to like your significant other, but also like being like taking that famous person and with all positives and negatives and the layers that come with that and like putting that into a relationship context, I think was really cool. I think that worked really well. All Falls Down was fun. I love the clarinet and the woodwinds in there.
Yeah.
Um, Definitely like brightens up the palette like exactly where it needed to. I think that was a fun change of pace and I really enjoyed that. Talking about tour anxiety and stuff like that on this track. Um, yeah, I felt like the build was a little bit out of nowhere. I feel like you could have built up to it a little bit more instead of just like dropping the like the dial and just turning up the volume.
Yeah.
But overall, I think that track worked really well. I love the clarinet on it. I think it went, the flow of these things have been pretty great so far. I remember the first record we did of hers felt a little bedroomy to the point where like it almost felt more self produced and a little bit more personal. But I like how grand she's kind of taking it on this record so far. So nice.
Yeah. Well, I think that first record, I think she was still at Berkeley. She was still in college. I don't think she had any producers. I'm not
Hmm.
sure. So, yeah, that's probably why it sounds a little different. But yeah, that one I was getting, that one especially, maybe it was the clarinet and like the woodwinds. I'm like, oh, this sounds like Sling.
Yeah.
But I was also getting a little bit of James Taylor and how the choruses were arranged.
Hmm.
I doubt that's an influence because I don't know. I don't feel like anyone our age listens to James Taylor.
But Sling was based off of 70s
Oh,
folk records.
that's
So
true. That's true. So maybe it's like a cycle.
Secondhand.
Yeah. Well, that makes sense. But I do have to say, I love these short tracks. The movie
Mhm.
star and the elevator are both phenomenal. Those might be my favorite ones. Just really short and sweet. A lot of like backing vocals and harmonies. That's my jam. So I don't know. I love both of those, I would say. But we'll move on to track 6, Staying.
Whisper to me, baby. I'm too far gone to care. I wish I could have said what I meant when it was right there. Now I'm laying in bed with you, and you're falling asleep. How can you look so peaceful when you know I'm gonna leave? What happens when you love me dry? I give myself to help you get by. I keep on lying and sweating at night. Hold me until someone sends me a sign.
All right, that was Staying.
Very nice. I like that one a lot. I think that might be my favorite. I
Yeah.
think this is the first song on the entire record where she has elevated that sound of a lot of the contemporaries that she is around. I think starting it off super slow and smooth like that was really great. I think her vocals shined on this track quite well. And then that switch up with the guitar coming in, I think that was fantastic. I love the way you kind of bring in this atmosphere. I think that switch worked really, really well. Again, going into this more spacey country folk direction, which I do really enjoy. And I love the kind of spiraling harmonies as that track ended. Yeah, anything kind of spacey and stuff like that, I'm gonna really enjoy. And I feel like this one, I wasn't constantly thinking this is this, this is this. I feel like she really kind of did a different thing here, and I think it worked really well for her. I think lyrically it worked really well too. Just kind of like this staying in a relationship just to make sure the other person like doesn't completely like collapse and lose it, and kind of struggling with that. So I think it was pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that one's my favorite one too. Maybe hit a little bit too close to home. I just got out of a terrible codependency. So, uh, yeah, maybe a little bit too truthful to my life, but I appreciated it. I thought it was very well done. And yeah, that last part, really nice groove to it. I just sounds nice. That's what I like.
Oh, I gotta save this album.
Exactly. Oh,
Zippy.
my dog gets angry. Let's see. The next one is the second single, which I think I heard a little bit of, but didn't finish. Because I just wanted to hear a vibe. But that is, I guess.
Straighten your tie. We're not alone. I'll tell a lie just to bring you home. We danced together. You're not that good. I'll tell a lie, but it's understood. What I was doing, but I never do.
All right, that's, I guess.
I guess that's my feelings on that song.
Oh,
Um, yeah, I don't know if I really enjoyed that one too much.
hmm.
I felt like it was kind of an extension of Staying in the way that, like, sonically, but I feel like it didn't really hit the peak that that track did. I think it was a little bit messy. I think there's certain issues I have with this track. I think overall the writing is still pretty good, um, but I think the builds in the chorus and near the end were like a little bit sloppy. The compression especially was pretty bad at the end. I think the drums were definitely clipping at the end there, and I felt like, again, if you want to build this natural kind of energy and build your mix up like that, I feel like just raising the volume isn't enough, because it felt really stuffy on the chorus. Everything felt very close and kind of claustrophobic, where I feel like they were going for more of like a, like, ethereal, bigger band feeling, which I feel like you need to have the mix expand outward, and it felt like everything was kind of like squishing my head. um so it was a little awkward, I think, on that. And then the whole outro with the kind of vocalizing, I think you can do that well. I think for me it reminded me more of the, like, really cringy, like, early 2010s, like Mumford and Sons, kind of that kind of folk that you would hear on the radio.
Yeah.
I felt like it was a little bit reminiscent of that. Obviously, it wasn't as bad as that. But I don't know. I felt like she was going for something big and grand here, but I feel like there's a couple of missteps that made it just feel a little bit flat for me.
Hmm.
But yeah,
Yeah. I mean, I don't hate it. I don't really like that last part. I'll agree with you there. It did feel a little bit corny, but I liked the ride up until then. But I'm also deaf and I wouldn't notice things like that. So it sounded fine to me as someone who,
probably to most other people.
yeah, I don't know. I thought it was okay. Just the ending was kind of meh, but I like the song up until then. Track 8 is Drunk Running, my favorite city in the country of running.
Favorite activity.
Oh,
What did you mean when you said that you were sober now? Caught you in bed with a Red Bull vodka 2 weeks out. No one stops you, nobody takes it from your hand, even when you break your leg drunk running. Someone ought to hold you to your word. Say I love you and then drink it backwards.
all right. That was Drunk Running.
Drunk running. Yeah, that one was pretty solid. I think this one achieved what the last one was trying to do with that build at the end. I think
Yeah.
this was a lot more successful. Um, yeah, I don't know. There wasn't really a whole lot that stood out to me in this track. I think the writing, it again, is pretty solid. I like the kind of touching on alcohol as a coping mechanism, even though there's 10 billion songs on it. I still think it works.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, I don't think there's anything too stand out for this. I think the build works. I don't know if there was enough happening to justify it, but that's kind of a. I'd have to re-listen to the song a couple times. But yeah, I feel like at this point I'm kind of just vibing. It's getting a little kind of samey and watery, but at the same time, it's still solid tunes, and I'm still kind of like in it from a sonic perspective. So I think that's enough at this point. So
Yeah, I think so. I think that this is just the last song, but better. Um, I don't know. I don't listen to a whole lot of songs that touch on addiction, and when I do, it's usually from the perspective of the person that has it. So I thought that a song coming from the partner of someone that is going through it and trying to get sober but not. I thought it was really interesting and kind of sad in a way that I hadn't seen or heard before. So I thought it was really well done. I thought that song was pretty great. I liked it. So, big win. Track 9 is Broken Glass.
Broken glass on the table. Pick it up, hold it to your throat. I can see who you are now that the windows broke. Drop of blood on the carpet. Didn't think it would go this far. Don't know why I held on this long, but here we are. I know you've been hurt, but you did it first to me. We started with the end, broken glass again. I want you now, and then I don't, and every word is a landmine. I hold the glass against your throat, but I can't do it this time. It might seem like I love you, but I just don't want to be alone.
All right, that was Broken Glass.
I think I found my issue. I think I
Ah.
found it. She's really good at crafting albums that flow well, and I think she has a good read on narrative and flow and structure. I think all that's great. I think the issue is she can't find her own sound within that to make it work. I feel like she has all like the conceptual pieces there, but I think sonically she just hits a wall sometimes because this is a Phoebe Bridgers song down to the literal like vocal run she's going on. Whatever line it was, I think the who the blame gets assigned to next, when she drops into her lower register for next, I'm like, whoa, that is a 1-to-1, like that's crazy. um Again, I know it's kind of cliche to relate her to Phoebe so heavily, but I think this song especially is near 1-to-1 almost. And it doesn't do much for me because of that, because it's like this is reminding me so much of another song that it takes me out of it. um I don't think the writing's as like dynamic as Phoebe's either. I think it's still fine. I still like the narrative of this track, and within the album I think it works well. I really like how deep she's digging into this relationship and all the different parts. I think it's working really well. I think sonically I'm just hitting a wall here. And then again, the builds feel a little bit clunky on this track again. I think the drums, especially for whatever reason, they cannot get the drums in the mix correctly. They're so chunky and kind of clip a little bit. And you can hear the graininess in it. I don't know. It's hard to get those in there without it sounding like just shrill on my ears. I wish the drums would like just get mixed into there a little bit better. I don't know how to produce music or anything, so I don't know any like real term or solve for this, but
Yeah.
this is what I'm hearing. But yeah, it just seems like they're turning up the volume during these moments where I want like a real like natural build within these songs, and I'm not getting that. So yeah, I have a lot to say about that one. It doesn't do much for me. I think I'm finding out the reasons why this disconnect is happening. But yeah, I think I don't want to do comparisons this whole reaction, but I think this song especially was almost a 1-to-1 copy to the point where I couldn't not bring it up. So
Sure. And I haven't listened to much Phoebe, except for stuff on the Boy
yeah.
Genius record, so I
when
didn't
when
get
we do
that.
Punisher, you'll understand
I'm,
what I'm talking about. Yeah.
I'm sure I will. But I think my problem with it is that it's almost a 1-to-1. She's doing the same bit that she did on 5 Seconds Flat and on the track Firearm, which is a song that I didn't like. on my first listen, and it has grown on me maybe the most as any song has on that album, where it starts off kind of slow and then it does go turn into something a little bit harder. But on that song, like it's just like a verse. Like I think there's a Lucy song that's like that too, where it starts off real, and then there's like, oh, I'm thinking of VPS, where it's like a folk song, and then it does like the Thrasher thing, or Slayer, right? That's
Slayer.
the band
Yes.
Slayer. Yeah, and so it sounds like an early Lucy song, but I like Lucy a whole lot more. So, um, yeah, I thought that one was fine. Not one of my favorites by any means. And I noticed the drum mixing, so
There
that's
you
how
go.
you
I'm
know
not
it's an
crazy.
issue. Yeah.
I know people find it so annoying when you bring it up so often, but it is a pivotal part of the song.
Yeah, and if it's that obvious that I was hearing it, then
Yeah,
it is definitely an
something's
issue.
up.
Yeah. Well, we'll just move on. Track 10 is You Forced Me To.
You're on top of me, and I'm under you, and it never stops. I am guilty, aren't you? No one gets to win, so we will both lose. Tell me why you think you love me. I am guilty, you're a fool. I want you to hate me. I deserve it for my crimes. The same as when you met me. I have changed because you forced me to.
All right, that was You Forced Me To.
I like that one quite a bit. That's one of my favorites, actually. Love how stripped back it is. I love the guitar, kind of this like weird dirge just kind of going on that I really enjoy. Kind of like, I don't know, it read Victorian to me, which is kind of interesting. I don't
Yeah.
know. I really like the way that went. Initially, I was like, the chorus feels a little flat, but I think like doing that kind of repetitive cadence works really well when it pays off. When she gets to every time in the chorus, it like does this unexpected key change into a major key, and she harmonizes with herself.
Yeah.
Like at the last part of that, and that like was just really cool. I really enjoyed that. That was like a super satisfying payoff to this kind of thing you have to sit through for a little bit. But yeah, I thought that song was really dynamic, really. I don't know. It shows what you can do the best when you strip it down to those elements, and I think I'm seeing a lot more of her personality come out in this song than a lot of these other ones. And I think the interlude with the pianos over each other also went really well. So yeah,
Yeah.
big fan of that one.
Yeah, I agree. I think that last verse sounds like if iMotion Heap didn't have any bleep bloops. Just
I
in
can see
like
that. Yeah.
how the harmonies were going, where like she's
Mm-hmm.
doing the main harmony and there's like just a couple, like two voices over here harmonizing just for like one or two words. I was like, oh, that kind of gives me flashbacks to that album that we just reacted to. But yeah, I like that one too. That one's up there for me. But speaking of being up there, let's listen to Older, the title track.
I don't know where you're going with that, but take it.
Hard to say.
Over and over, a carousel ride. Pay for your ticket, watch the red moon climb. Wish I was stronger somehow. Wish it was easy. Somewhere I lost all my senses. I wish I knew what the end is. I wish I knew what the end is.
Older.
That was fantastic. I love that one. I think this is her best vocal performance. I think the piano ballad worked really well, and I think her writing on this track was really, really, really good.
Yes.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like, these are the songs that I'm getting the least amount of influences, and they're the ones I'm liking the best. I like when she's kind of just in her own lane like this.
Yeah.
It's like a natural vocal inflection. It doesn't feel too similar to anybody. I think the first verse lyrically is just perfect. I love how simple and clean it is, but how just nice it reads. I love the relatability of like watching your parents get older and like wanting to, go back in time, but at the same time, like, I don't know, she's kind of like in this loop and cycle. But yeah, I think it is really, really, really great. I can see why this was the lead single. I think this like reads as a very confident piano ballad, and it definitely comes across really well. I think this is the most I've like emotionally connected to a song by her before. I feel like there's always again been this like kind of weird sheen between me and like her writing style, but I think this one kind of cut through. Yeah, really great.
Yeah. Yeah, when I heard this, I was like, oh boy, we gotta do this album because that is so good. And then when I saw the track list, I was kind of shocked that it wasn't the 13th track because I know I talked about this on the podcast when
Yeah.
the single came out, but on both Give Me a Minute and 5 Seconds Flat, Give Me a Minute's actually just the last track, but she has songs dedicated to her dad who passed. I'm not sure when exactly. I think 2020. Probably. I'm sure there's some
was. Yeah, it's
significance.
on here.
Oh, it is? Okay.
Both the singles for this album are released on the 13th of each month as well. So
Okay. Okay.
she's
that
really
makes
going
sense.
with it.
She's going with it. And when I saw it was track 11, I'm like, oh, that seems a little bit out of place. I wonder what's going to happen on track 13. But I guess we'll get there when we get there. But that might be my favorite song by her from all three of these albums so far. I love that song so much. So good. We'll move on now. Track 12 is Better Than This.
1, 2, 3. Someone at my door, I can hear him knocking. If I let him inside, it will all be true. I didn't know that I was capable of all of this. Look what I've turned into.
Phoebe Bridgers.
But if I'm not a good person, you always say that I am. You don't really know me at all now. I have you right in the palm of my hand. 'Cause I like to be seen and I like to be wanted. Always could count on you there. It's probably wrong that I never was honest. Honest to God, I was scared.
That was better than this.
Not bad. Yeah, I enjoyed that one. Again, she fell right into Phoebe again right away, and I'm like, no, no, stop it, stop it, stop it. And she kind of recovered as the song went on, and I'm glad she did. It's just, I feel like she's making fun of me because she'll say a certain word in the exact same way that Phoebe will say it, and I've never heard any other vocalist say it that way. So it's just like, whoa, stop it. Um, but I really enjoyed the guitar parts on this track. I think this had a very like live lo-fi recording element to it that I really enjoyed. I think that made the build at the end work really well because while that piano was like, you know, a little bit not clipping, but it got a little bit loud. I think it meshed well because it is a very kind of like homegrown lo-fi live in the studio kind of recording, so I think it worked really well. Yeah, again, I feel like there's the bones and structure of a really fantastic song in here. I think there's just a couple of things where I feel like she can improve on to really like have her style truly come out. But yeah, I think we're on a pretty good run here to end this record so far.
Yeah, I think so. Uh, yeah, I really like her lyrics, especially on this album. I think some of her lyrics on "Give Me a Minute" are a little bit like
Hmm.
kitschy, corny
Yeah.
type thing, but like I feel like the lyrics on this one have been like really personal, and I really appreciate that. Uh, Saying things in a way that I've never heard. Uh, but again, I don't listen to really Phoebe or Billy, so I don't have that frame of reference. So if she's ripping those two people off
She's
specifically, I
not.
don't know. Okay.
No.
Okay.
Just in the vocals.
Just in how she's
Yeah.
sang, which is
Yep.
unfortunate because she really has a great voice.
She does.
And older, but for some reason she likes to slip into this whispery voice, and I'm like,
Yeah.
Phoebe and Billy have that on lock. Like that's their thing. uh, so yeah, I don't know. I really liked it. But we'll move on. Track 13 is March.
Threw a rock into the water. Watched it sink down to the bottom. Trying to find the lesson in it all, but I haven't learned anything. Never looked much like my father. 1 year older, but somehow I feel younger. I see it more now that he's gone. Maybe I just see him in everything. Called you when I heard the news. Spent the night lying next to you. What a way to start it off. So heavy from the start. And how could it take so long? Thought I had it handled, but it slipped through. Didn't know it'd be this hard yesterday.
All right, that was March.
I thought that one was great. Um, Again, I think the lyrics fantastic. I love the imagery she's putting here.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, 13 track about her dad. We've discussed this already.
We have.
But yeah, songwriting is fantastic. I love the flow of this track. I love how stripped back it is. I think I got a little scared with the entry of the drums and a little bit more instrumentation because I'm like, please don't do the drum thing again. But she subverted it. She did it like kind of a muted effect in the back, and I think it worked really well to bring in that low end,
Mm-hmm.
give a little bit more of a beat. But there was a really nice element with that added. I think she falls into a little bit of Phoebeisms again, especially with the end of her voice kind of going off into like this ghostly fade out. Again, that's a 1-to-1. I think it didn't do it didn't throw me off of the track enough because I felt like it was personal enough to her where I really still connected with the track and really enjoyed it. But I think it's like in general, when there's a song so personal and your vocal inflection is so similar to another artist, it creates this weird dissonance in my head, where it's like this is so near, dear, and personal to you, but it's like all I can think of is this other vocalist who I can imagine doing this right now, and it feels weird.
Mm.
But I think the song is really fantastic. I love the lyrics of like so far away, and then it hits you where it's like if you lose someone and just like years down the line, randomly you'll think about it and it'll just ruin your whole day. Yeah, I think lyrically is fantastic. So great track.
Yeah, I'd agree. Just continuing the theme of this maybe being her best lyrical game so far. I will say I probably, in terms of dad tribute songs, I do like the one on 5 Seconds Flat the best. Chemtrails.
Yes.
Yes, I don't ask me why she named a song dedicated to her dad Chemtrails. But that song is very very beautiful. I'm not saying that this one isn't, but yeah, I don't know. It just different vibe, and I liked it, but this is so weird. Like, not the best dead dad tribute, but
Yeah, like it was like,
I don't know. That's just how my brain works. So sorry. Track 14 is Vortex.
I know it's not my fault, but I can't say that I'm blameless. Carry the pain till it stops, undress it until it's nameless. Someday the world will stop, and it will feel just like this did. I know it's not my fault, sometimes it feels like I did this. Oh, oh. Someday I'll be able to let you go.
That was Vortex.
good closer. I am a fan of piano ballads closing albums. It's one of my favorite things. I feel like it always does a really good job of bookending things. Um, and I think this one worked pretty well. I think vocally she did really well on this track. Falls into the same issue of not knowing the way around building a crescendo without just like frying your mix. But I think the sentiment of this track was there enough where I was able to overlook it more than some of the other tracks that did the same kind of thing. But yeah, I think it wraps up the record really nicely. Again, I'm so impressed by her songwriting compared to her first record. But yeah, I don't know if you want to give thoughts on the whole thing right away.
Sure.
Okay. This is pretty solid. Uh, there's a lot of thoughts in my head. I feel like um, she's still wearing a lot of influences on her sleeve. She's breaking out of it. I think at her core, she's really developing into an artist. I think this is, significantly better than the first record I heard by her.
Hmm.
I think she has a really, really, really good backbone in what she wants to convey. I think the track list and the sequencing of it worked really well. She has a good idea on how these tracks flow. Her writing is so much better than the first record. I think where the issues come in for me are, again, borrowing from other artists and contemporaries, where I feel like by your third album you should be breaking out a little bit more than this. She is on some tracks. I think You Forced Me to and Older are two standouts where it's like I feel like I'm getting the true genuine her and her style on those tracks. And I think those turn out to be the best tracks on the record.
Hmm.
Um, but it's a very solid record. Uh, it's not right to just like dismiss it as a Phoebe Bridgers ripoff, because there is a lot of great material on here and it is very solid. I know why some people might do that. But I go back to this over like Sling or Punisher or anything like that, I wouldn't know. But this is getting close, and there's a solid base here where it's like she's starting to branch out. I feel like there's a really good album in her still, in a completely different style that doesn't borrow as much.
Yeah.
But yeah, yeah. Part of my head is like, there's a really great songwriter and genuinely like great personality that is behind this music, and the other half of me is like, this is made in a lab by a TikTok algorithm playing all of like the most popular indie folk records of the last 5 years. And those are kind of mashed together. But I do really respect her as an artist, and I feel like she's really kind of coming into her own. So I'm still excited to see what she does next. But this is like really, really, really good progress. So
Yeah, I would say so. Uh, just quickly, my thoughts on Vortex. Great, great closer. I thought that I thought that it was really well done. I think she needs to do more longer tracks. Honestly,
mhm.
I thought that that was great. She doesn't really do that in general. This is probably your longest song, honestly.
Ooh,
Well, actually, no. Over the Ocean Call on the first album is 6 minutes, but that has like
close.
there's like an outro. It's like a second song, kind of tacked onto it. So I'm gonna still say that this is the longest song, especially since the first part of that song was released as a
It's one
single
idea.
before that album came out, and then
Yeah,
the album version is longer because it has another thing on it. I'm gonna call it a technicality.
I think that's correct.
Yeah, I think the album as a whole is really good. I think off rip, I don't know if I like it more than 5 seconds flat, but 5 seconds flat, it took a long time to grow on me. Probably months of like listening to it and being kind of meh on it, and then eventually it kind of clicked. And now I prefer it way more than Give Me a Minute. And this one I like a whole lot more off rip than I did 5 seconds flat. And I think it's really interesting to see her progression as an artist here. I mean, she's still really young. She's our age. And I think that this is easily maybe her best output in songwriting wise. Maybe not in terms of topics, just because 5 seconds flat starts with the song equivalent of a "Do Not Resuscitate" tattoo, which I think is pretty fun. Uh, but I think the themes on here and the topics that she's covering are still really great, really personal, which I haven't seen a whole lot of in this sphere. But then again, I haven't heard everything. But I will continue to champion her because I do think that she has a lot of potential. I do think that one day we will get a Sling. I'm just gonna put it out there that one
It's
day
very possible.
it's possible. And I've been riding with her for a couple years, and I'm excited to see where she goes from here. Obviously, and I think that this was just another step towards that great album that I can see her making. So Big win. But that's it. That's it for this video. Next week,
sir.
we will be doing the Bon Iver for Emma Forever Ago. Is that what it's called?
Yes.
Okay, we're going to be doing that record. And it'll be
New
the
series.
first of our Bon Iver series. Similar to our Arca series that we did a while ago.
A while ago. Yeah.
We're going to be going through at least the first 3, I think, and seeing how we feel. Maybe we'll go into II. And
Otherwise, we got some EPs we could dig into. So
that's true. That's true.
yeah, that should be fun. We're also still gonna do Fleet Foxes, so it's gonna be kind of like a here's Bon Iver, here's Fleet Foxes. Because we still have 2 more Fleet Foxes records that I want to do. So there's a lot of folk going on, but I swear we'll do my wheel probably after Bon Iver. I don't know. I guess it's technically my turn, but I think. I don't even know.
Yes.
We've been doing so many new releases, it's hard to keep track now.
Well, this was technically
yeah.
my pick.
Oh, yes, it was. I forgot.
Yes.
Yep. So, yeah, we will go back to the wheel after the Bon Iver video. And then I'm hearing you. Plastic Beach is next on my good wheel. That's what I'm doing. I know people have been leaving comments about that. I got you. I've been wanting to do that one for a while, and I think we definitely need to mix up. We've been doing a lot of singer-songwriter / folk stuff, so I'm gonna kind of add some spice again. I think we've both just been really enjoying the sound lately, so that's kind of where we've gravitated a little bit. But yeah, super excited for the Bon Iver series. I think that'll be really great. I haven't visited some of those records in a while, but yeah, stay tuned for that. We'll probably have a Bab Jeb wheel eventually.
Soon.
Or we'll have Bab Jeb on one of the Fleet Foxes or something.
Oh, true.
And I'm sure there'll be more new releases to do because this year seems to be popping off in terms of releases. So
yes.
I think we've done more new release videos already this year than we have like in past years, and it's only April. So
that's possible. What have we done? 4? 5?
Yeah, I think this might be 5.
This might be 5
this year.
Okay.
So
we didn't even do the Casey Musgraves one.
Yeah, we didn't even do Casey.
Wow.
But yeah, I think that's it for this time. We have a podcast. If you like podcasts, if you don't, then don't do it. Doesn't matter to me.
It matters to me. It will damage my ego a whole lot if you don't listen to the podcast. Please listen to the podcast.
Please.
I talked about Vertigo. Don't you want to hear my thoughts on Vertigo?
I know I do.
Okay. Bye.